Buyers, are you wondering what you can do to make your offer stronger in this competitive market today? And sellers, are you saying no to all offers with financing and appraisal contingencies? This needs to stop. You can get your property under contract with a very qualified buyer in today's market. And buyers, yes, you can compete even if you're competing against all of these cash offers and present a strong offer with financing. Today, I'm going to talk to you about the appraisal gap and why it's so important for buyers and sellers and how we can use this contingency to get a buyer under contract, get an offer accepted on your property if it's been lingering on the market, and move forward and allow a buyer to buy and a seller to sell. I'm going to talk about what you need to know about the appraisal gap now. Hey everyone, my name's Jamey Prezzi. I'm a real estate agent in Miami-Dade and Broward counties. And today I'm going to talk to you about how you can use an appraisal gap contingency in order to get your property sold and for buyers to make your offer stronger. But first, before I get started, if this is your first time here, hit that subscribe button so you never miss another update. I do put out new videos every week. Also, use the link in our information box and download our free relocation guide today. When you download that guide, we will add you to our newsletter. And my husband, business partner, Ognjen, he always puts together a really informative newsletter that people love. It's a great newsletter about our local real estate market. Okay, let's get started. When working with buyers in today's market, it can be a little bit challenging if buyers need financing. And that's because our area has a huge influx of cash buyers. In fact, in Miami-Dade, we have one of the highest rates of cash buyers across the nation. So when you have a buyer who is going up against cash offers, I mean, cash is king. So very often sellers want to take the cash offers first, especially if it's a decent offer, because it's a little bit easier to close than financing. They can close a little bit faster and without a lot of extra risk and contingencies involved. However, if you are a seller and the property's been lingering on the market for a little while, and you've only really been considering cash offers, I would highly recommend that you give buyers who need financing a try. I have a lot of buyers who are very, very well qualified buyers, and a lot of our buyers do pay with financing. And we do add on an appraisal contingency with the financing offers. Now, I'm not going to discuss contracts and how you can cancel or how that appraisal contingency works, because that's a discussion if you have questions about that for a lawyer. But I can tell you in a very general way how we can sometimes make our buyers' offers very strong and also very appealing for sellers. And so if you haven't considered this before, if you're a buyer or a seller, you may want to consider this to strengthen your offer. And sellers, definitely take a look at the financing contingencies and the appraisal contingencies if they're coming across in your view when an offer is sent over to you. Let's go back to the appraisal gap and talk a little bit about what that means. An appraisal gap happens when you have a purchase price, what the buyer's under contract for to purchase the property, and what the real estate appraiser is appraising the property at. So in between is a gap. Sometimes the appraiser may go out and they may see the property's value as the purchase price and they may assign that as the value. Sometimes it may be a couple $1,000s off. Sometimes it may be tens of thousands of dollars off, and sometimes it can be really lower than what the purchase price is. It just depends on the appraiser and how they assign value to that property. My question always to buyers is this: if it was off by this amount, would you still be willing to buy the property? You could pay that gap and buy the property. Would you be willing to do that? And some buyers are able to do that. Now, you have to make sure that you can still qualify for the loan by paying that extra money, but would you still be interested in purchasing that property if you have to pay a little bit of that gap? Sellers, would you be willing to accept an offer with financing if a buyer was willing to pay that gap? Generally speaking, you know what the property is worth in today's market, and if you're concerned that the property may not appraise to that purchase price, what the buyer ultimately offered and went under contract for. But what if they were willing to pay this? Would you still accept their offer? So I think an appraisal gap contingency can be a very useful tool for both buyers and sellers, and allow a property that has maybe been lingering on the market because maybe the sellers were just being super stringent with their offer criteria and what they were accepting as payment. Maybe you should consider an offer with financing. Now, some buildings we know are not eligible for financing. Some properties are not eligible for financing. And in that case, you're going to have to wait for a cash offer. But an appraisal contingency with a price point of what the buyer would still be willing to pay for the property can allow a buyer to buy a property that they're interested in and present a very strong offer, as well as allow a seller to maybe sell a property that's been sitting on the market for a little while. So I am talking about this because lately I've been seeing a lot of listings where sellers are saying no financing, no appraisal contingencies, no contingencies for anything. And I think it's just not a good way, especially if your property is still lingering on the market. Try to consider and make a little bit of exceptions, and you will definitely find that some good buyers will come your way when you allow them to purchase the property in a way that they need to buy. There are a lot of buyers here who need to buy with financing. Sometimes sellers just assume that because we have a super heavy cash market that it's not even worth it to consider offers with financing. And I think that you're really missing a good opportunity, because sometimes buyers who do need financing are able to leverage a little bit more, and they can maybe pay a little bit more money, you know, because they've been denied with all of the other cash offers that they've been competing against. Anyways, just something to think about. If you have more questions about how to buy real estate in our area, we are always here to be a resource for you. I hope you found this video helpful, and we will see you